All right, the stage is set. We are almost ready to go. Dave McNamara has not had a huge amount of time to recover and find the ability to go again. But here he is already with the next break, with a chance to go and become a Pro Series finalist. It really is all on this. And Simon mentioned about how well he's breaking, but not there. Straight in off. And Karl Sutton will get the game's first opportunity. Stephen Jameson joined by Pro Series double champion this season. Mick the Machine Hill joins me on commentary for this one. Mick, pleasure as always to have your company.
Cheers, JMO.
I've asked Jimmy, I've asked Simon, who have you got for this final?
I slightly fancy Karl. Purely because I think he's maybe played in one or two more bigger matches than Dave up to this point in the career. That's not to suggest that Dave obviously is unable to play well on such a big occasion. I just kind of feel that Karl might just settle the better of the two, but we'll see.
I mean, you were very much in the mix for when Karl Sutton had his sort of peak year in 2016 when he won that European title, when he got to the World Final. I think he beat you in the semi-final on the way to that. And those sort of heights that he reached, he's not really come all that close to as part of the Ultimate Pool promotion. Sort of been left to wonder, will he ever get back to those? But this weekend he showed us all what a good player he still can be.
Yeah, I just think, like, kind of as a player, you go through those, what I call that pool depression, if you like, and just for a little while there, Karl was going through that kind of vibe, and he was finding it difficult to practice, and one or two different things. I'm not sure if he's done anything different, but I know Karl fairly well. He's a really likeable lad. I've always got on with him really well from being a youngster. Spent a lot of time down where Karl's from, doing some exhibitions. Had a sponsor down there at a time, so I've known Karl a lot of years from being a young lad, and he seems a little bit happier around the place. And
he spoke to myself and Greg Batten in the studio after his semi-final win. As much he said he felt better on and off the table.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you know what I'm like around the venue sometimes, so I can spot it a mile off if somebody else is fed up.
Here he is then, first 8 ball of the match. And he's played that lovely. That's a really good opening clearance from Karl Sutton. Make no mistake, he has been one of the form players this weekend, and for those surprised to see him in this final, that's only really based off recent record rather than anything else. His performances this weekend have been absolutely stellar, and it all started back on Friday lunchtime with a brilliant win against Shane Thompson in round number 1. And Shane is obviously such a stellar player, but those two know each other really well. They roomed together, I know, but the way that he came through that game, and spoke to Shane afterwards, and he said Karl played really well. He started with a prelim against Early Bale 7-4. Shane Thompson 7-3, Jordan Shepherd 7-3, sat behind Karl right now, by the way. Sean Gibberfield 7-2, and then Jack Whelan 7-5. That, by anybody's standard, is a brilliant run to the final.
Yeah, and except for Jack there, it's been fairly kind of comfortable, and as you say, all world-class players.
Well, to put it this way, in every round from round 1, he's beaten an Ultimate Pool champion.
Right, okay. There's a stat for you.
He's not done it the easy way.
No, and it's good to see as well. I mean, I don't know Dave on the same personal level as I know Karl. And as I said, we know we've had one or two chats, me and Karl, over the last few months when we bump into each other at the events, and it's just nice to see. Nice to see him enjoying his pool and back playing well again.
Oh, he's got a tough shot here, mind. Started so well, but might have just ran aground a touch here. Tough shot coming up. Played it okay.
Yeah, and if he's gone through far enough, this is lovely because he can play middle. He can play middle, kind of hold on the red if that's the angle, or pinch it back a fraction and get the angle to get onto the 8. He's okay, I think. He's overrun that a smidgen, I think. He may have to play the double here.
Yeah, looks like he's got quite a bit of angle from the
Yeah,
middle.
he's got a bit too much angle. Unless we're deceived on our screen, which we can be sometimes. But certainly, yeah. It certainly looks like he's got to play the double and just draw the cue ball back, probably like what, 3 inches or so, just so he's on the left-hand side of the line for the bottom left as we look. Nice shot, yeah, it's perfect. Perfect.
It's been a solid start so far from Karl Sutton, you have to say. A crisp pot. And deja vu here for Karl Sutton. The late ball down this right rail.
Very nice.
2-0. Perfect start for Karl. As for what he's done in the past, well, there is the record for the man from Lowestoft. 2016 European champion, and got to the world final in 2016 where he lost to then qualifier and unknown quantity Sean Chipperfield, whatever happened to him. But
yeah, he actually beat me in the quarter-final that year. 9-5.
Was it the quarter, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Phil Harrison in the semis.
Yeah.
And then just
I think
fell.
a fair few people thought that year that because of that his sort of name was on the trophy almost.
Yeah, he fell just a fraction short against Sean. You know, I mean, those days, bizarrely, really, when you got to the quarter-final stage, we played on a bigger table. So we played on an 8-foot table. Yeah, the tables, I mean, you know, you couldn't make it up, could you? And I think it would be very fair to say...
That seems so weird to me now.
Oh, it's ridiculous. But I think it would be very fair to say that the bigger table would have favoured Sean over Karl. I think Karl would agree to that. That's not to suggest that Sean wouldn't have won if it was on the regular table, but it certainly added a variable to the final match. I feel that was in Sean's favour.
Karl back at the table here again after the dry break from Dave. Just got the sense that the start was really important for Dave. He had such a high with that win over Craig Waddingham, and the way that it happened, you saw the emotional release at the end, and such a massive high for him.
Yeah.
It just felt like he was at a slight disadvantage coming straight into this final.
I agree. I said exactly the same thing outside. I said, particularly the show and release of tension and emotion Dave let out when he potted the 8-ball to win, which is understandable, of course.
He's almost got to keep that going, but he's in danger here, having a bit of a dump of adrenaline, and that can really...
You're absolutely right.
Really cost you.
You're absolutely right. You know, to pick yourself up and go again, and also not falling into the trap of, oh, I'm pleased to be in the final, and you know, you still there's a big difference between being runner-up and winning. You know, it's massive. I think I'd rather get beat first round than get beat in the final, to be honest. Because, you know, other than the monetary side of things, getting to the final, you know, if you like, I mean, I suppose it's nice to play in the final, but it's not nice losing finals, believe me.
It's building you up to knock you down almost, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's rotten, isn't it? You've come so close, but you might as well be a million miles away.
Karl Sutton still has a little bit of work to do, I think, in the top of the table. He's opened up some of it, but that yellow at the top left, I think, still a bit of a problem
if
for him.
If he can thread the cue ball through the gap of the reds and back out, he could play the one next to the one he's playing now as a 3-ball plant. Okay, well, if it goes into the top right, he's got a perfect angle. Not 100% sure if he played that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He seemed to have played quite firm to get that result. For me, like if he was playing for that, why hit it so hard? But we'll let him off.
Yeah, he's earned that right this weekend, hasn't he?
Good shot.
Lovely.
Good shot.
Tell you what, this is a high tariff clearance. Karl Sutton is in the mood, isn't he?
Yeah, now play to what would, I liken it to snooker sometimes, to our viewers, rightly or wrongly, but it kind of, in this instance, you're playing for like the blue spot, so to speak, if we're allowed to use a snooker term, and that's absolutely perfect. Not that the blue spot goes there, but you get my drift.
Yeah. Good to see again another great crowd in for our Ultimate Pool Pro Series finals. I mean, the last time we were here at the Grand Hotel, you played in the Saturday night final, Mick. There was so many in there for that. There's a proper buzz out there in the arena.
Yeah,
isn't there?
it is, and you know, I've said many times I like Blackpool. I'm disappointed that the World Championships is moving, but I understand why. But I just like it here. I think there's a feel about it that gives it a certain vibe. It gives it a certain kind of, you know, there's been a lot of World Championships. There's been a lot of famous matches been played in Blackpool where the pool's concerned.
Oh, Dave McNamara, he's got to find a way to get into this final here in Blackpool. And from Runcorn, not too far down the road. 2016 under-23 world champion. His biggest pro title came in 2019, where he was an amateur champion. But in terms of the senior game, he hasn't quite made that very difficult jump between sort of junior all-star to senior pro.
It's a massive jump mentally. Not necessarily, I mean, the level, you know, the level is the level, you know, whatever. But the jump to the senior pro ranks is, you are now playing against people that are mentally strong, that, you know, you can't really kind of bully, or you can't, like, you know, certainly play mind games as such. You know, it's just such a jump mentally.
And also, you go from being the sort of biggest kid in the playground to all of a sudden,
exactly.
It's like going from year 6 to year 7 at school, isn't it?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you've got to play the year 11s.
It's basically like being in primary school going up to senior school. You're the biggest you're the biggest one year, then you're smallest, you know, the year after when you go to secondary school.
Karl Sutton there with the break. He's made the 8 ball, but he did make another ball. It was a bit of a sketchy break that from Karl, but
I really like that rule, you know. When I look back now and I think that used to be re-rack the balls because the 8 ball's gone in. I mean, why? Why were we re-racking the balls?
Now I've got a question here for you, Mick. This was talked about with Simon earlier on commentary. I can't remember who was with him, but I'm going to ask you the question. You hit the break. You don't make any red or yellow, but you pot the 8 ball. Should you still be at the table with a respotted 8 ball, or should you be back in your seat?
I think you should continue.
I'm glad we agree.
What does Simon think?
He doesn't agree.
He doesn't agree.
He feels he should only be able to. He did say, to be fair, he's not precious about it, but if he
this is my argument too, and Scott Gillespie agrees with this as well. Great shot.
Well, if Goobsy agrees with you, I'm not going to stand in your way.
My argument to that is when you break the balls, none of those balls are yours. So all the balls should be live. Why is the 8 ball not live? Like, it doesn't make...
So you're a fan of the golden break? No, I'm joking.
it just doesn't make any sense, does it, that you can pop the 8?
I agree with you.
Like, why not? You know, it's...
Ultimately, it's not special because it's in a different place in the pack. You're just trying to make a ball when you come to the table. A ball.
And the thing is, with this game now is, obviously you can pot a red off the break and then go yellows if you want. So the red isn't even your ball either. It just allows you to retain the table. You know, when we used to play world rules, if you potted a red off the break, you just nominated reds and you was on them. So that become your ball. So, yeah, to me it's...
Well, I'm glad we agree.
Yeah, I just...
But I tell you what...
Why? I'm going to have to have a word with Simon about that.
Just to move the conversation on, because whilst we've been having that sort of quite bubbled debate, because we both agree with each other in our little echo chamber, because Karl Sutton is going through another clearance here, and he is 3 balls away from going 4-0 up in a Pro Series final in 10 minutes.
Well, poor Dave hasn't a go.
I mean,
It's 4 visits, 4 frames. And they've been good ones as well. They've not been tap-ins. You know, there's a difference between tap-in finishes. Great shot again.
That's another great shot. What a shot this is. Karl Sutton is in the zone. He is playing as well as I have ever seen him play. I must admit I wasn't privy to the 2016 iteration of Karl Sutton, but this is a different animal to the one we've seen on the Ultimate Pool Tour for the last year and a half.
They've not been tap-ins by any stretch.
Another classy Karl Sutton finish, 4-zip.
Very good.
If you're Dave McNamara now, you are in a bit of a world of trouble.
Yeah.
But you've just got to believe, you've just got to get a foothold, you've just got to make a ball off this next frame. 5-0 might be too far. 4-0 still feels possible, especially when it's your break. But
exactly, yeah.
Difference between 5-0 and 4-1 here feels massive.
Talking of the 6 red shootout, to kind of spice it, because we're obviously 18 months into the Ultimate Pool in terms of the 6 red shootout. What about if we implement the 8 ball in the 6 red shootout, but you have to pot that last?
Has some slightly slower times.
Well, I just think it just gives a new look to the shootout, as opposed to it kind of continuing to be what it is, you know. So, oh no,
cue ball, so tough. That is so tough. A wry smile for Dave McNamara, but he knows that could well be writing on the wall. He's hit that break beautifully as well. That's tough.
I'm just a little bit concerned with that kind of, what's the word? That reaction to that though. Because I tell you now, if that would have happened to me, I'd be absolutely raging. I'd be furious, because, you know, you've still got to believe that if the chances come your way, you can win the match. There was an air of kind of, what's the word? Kind of
inevitability about it. He felt like, well, that's the writing on the wall sort of thing.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit early for that. That's not the best shot Karl's ever played. He's on the wrong. He's gone past his line here. Karl just wants to be a little bit careful that he doesn't think that this is over, because this is a great chance for 5-0. That's not amazing either, to be honest. Because when he plays this, he really wants to be close to his work so he can control it. Yeah, let's say if he plays the plant next, I mean, he really wanted to be, you know, a good foot away from the rail to be able to control where the balls go. It's okay, I guess.
It's another one of those finishes where you look at it at the start and you think he'll do well to get out here.
Yeah, he just wants to be a little bit careful here. Wants to be careful where the first red goes. He played it nicely. He's playing lovely.
He's been faultless, absolutely faultless. Just shows, doesn't it, what? I mean, you can apply this across all sports, across pretty much any walk of life, but it is amazing what a little bit of confidence can do.
And in all fairness, you know, if we was watching Gareth Potts here or Mellin or somebody like that, we'd be like, wow, this is amazing. And, you know, it's like,
it's a clinic.
Nobody else can play any better than this either.
It's an absolute clinic from Karl Sutton, this. Awesome, awesome standard. Worthy of any final. And at the minute, he is our runaway leader, 5-0 in the Pro Series 5 final. Dave McNamara has got time, because this match has flown by so far, but he is going to need a pretty incredible turnaround as Phil Harrison watches on. Massive fan of the game, Phil Harrison.
Yeah.
And Davies and his partner Laura watching on as well. Aaron looking forward to his Monday night escapades of the Champions League semi-final coming up in a couple of days.
Ladies World Champion there to the right, Amy Beauchamp.
There's Jordan Shepherd.
The who's who of pool is in the house tonight.
Oh, it's the broski and Big Juicy just behind there. Two fellas who are very supportive of Dave McNamara. They were some of the stars of the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup last season.
There's Dave McNamara there, look.
There's a good crowd in for this, and it's been a little bit quiet in the arena generally, but I think that's just because Dave McNamara's brought a few people with him, and they'll all be there, and they'll be respectful, but they've not got much to shout about.
I think they're in awe of the performance as well, in truth. Well, that's a miss-hit.
And finally, something goes Dave McNamara's way. Could this be his moment?
Hand behind the break line.
Karl Sutton will feel a little bit aggrieved, I'm sure, that he's been danced in off like that, but he did miss-hit that break, no question about it. And if Dave McNamara is to climb the mountain here and roll away the stone in this Ultimate Pool Pro Series 5 final, you get the feeling it must start here.
Red ball's in play.
There can be no room for error at 5-0 down against a player playing as well as Karl Sutton, and he's going to need a huge chunk of luck to go his way as well. He needs to find a way to scrape Karl off the table, and he can't just do that himself. Karl has to help him. He's gone about these in a confident manner, Dave McNamara. He's sort of worried about his sort of headspace after that lasting off on the break, but he's focused in quite nicely again.
Well, at the end of the day, you got to start somewhere, and you know he's got to get the frame on the board and see what happens. Just keep chipping away.
It's a lovely finish in the end from Dave McNamara. This gone about those really, really nicely.
Right.
And he's on the boards. No one wants to be whitewashed in a final. It will be, I think his first emotion there is relief, but now he's got to reset that a little bit and now turn to a little bit determination.
Absolutely, yeah. I enjoy the occasion, but you're there to win as well. It's a race to 8.
Paraphrase Neil Warnock, enjoy it by all means, but enjoy it by being sensible.
Yeah.
Enjoy it by being disciplined.
Exactly.
Karl Sutton has certainly been that. He has been stoic in that chair, all business. Sounds like someone dropped the marbles out there in the arena there. Well, hearing from one of our investigative reporters there that someone's dropped a load of cash in the arena.
Oh, really?
Don't be doing that.
Frame 7. David McNamara to break, trailing 5 frames to 1.
Trish Murphy not yet having to call for a bit of order, but not far off, I don't think.
Wow.
And he's made a ball. Well, is the luck now starting to maybe turn?
It looks that way, doesn't it? Because a big miss-hit, somehow ball finds its way around the table, makes the plant, and if you look how this now ends up, he's got a lovely angle on the red, half ball to knock the bad red out. And those reds look lovely, don't they?
Red ball's in play.
Yeah, they do now.
They look very inviting indeed. You'd like to see that red go in the middle. Does the red creep past the yellow?
Looks tight from the overhead, doesn't it?
But if he's got no shot to play, if he can play this, you see, he's no. It does go. It's there.
Well, he's just got to believe. And it is hard out there when you're 5-0 down and quite heavily down. It's a bit out of your control. It is hard out there to still believe, isn't it?
It doesn't take a lot though, does it? It's actually harder mentally to win from here than it is actually playing the game, believe it or not, because you know, playing the game is his chances, but mentally he's staying in the moment, believing. You know, that's slightly careless. That's a little bit of a careless one.
Yeah, these cushions have been springy all weekend, but Dave's played enough on these tables to know that.
Did he get there? Did he get there? He didn't really get there, and that was because the previous shot was careless. He's going to have to reroute here. Yeah, I mean, this is his last ball, isn't it? That he's taken here now. Is it that nicely?
Yeah, I think he's okay.
He's perfect.
Well, from 5-0 down, Dave McNamara wins 2 frames on the spin.
Lovely.
And now the crowd get a little bit into it from Dave McNamara's side. Now they start to hope and try and inject a little bit of belief into their charge from Runcorn. But he's enjoying the moment. We saw that in the semi-finals. A brilliant atmosphere out there between Craig Waddingham and Dave McNamara. Both have brought a lot of support.
Yeah.
Felt almost at times, Mick. I don't know about you. I knew you were out there as well. Almost felt like a little bit like a cash game out there with the sort of the partisan support.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, kind of Blackpool brings that because people are happy to make the drive over. You know, get a B&B in town or something. You know, or a hotel for the night, and you know, watch the pool and go and socialise in the town centre later and have a few beers and a kebab or whatever it is you do. And I just think Blackpool really offers that as just such a great location for the pool. It just fits the bill. You know, it fits perfect.
I think they need to get you on the Blackpool tourism board, mate. You'd be
Yeah,
a brilliant ambassador.
I think they should, yeah. My big ugly mug on the tower.
Hey, maybe if you manage to win Pro Series 6 tomorrow, that'll be enough to convince him.
Yeah, I'll have a word with the mayor.
Oh, well then.
Now.
Look at that. Well, this is going to require some mental strength from Karl Sutton now, because he's had a horrendous run here. Is the momentum, is the balance just swinging?
Wow. That is harsh, let me tell you. And look at these. Wow.
It could.
Dave,
and
Dave.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves now, but we could be looking here, because Karl might next touch the table at 5-4 when he was 5-0 up. What an opportunity.
Yeah, I think Dave should play the one he's playing here, and I think he should be stunning over for the one on the right-hand side rail. But it looks like he's topping through to me, is he? Is he going to play my shot? He has, yeah. I agree with that. Totally agree with that. And he's left himself a nice angle as well, just to float back out. This is 5-3. I'm going to make the call now.
Personally, from a neutral's point of view, I'm glad it looks like we've got a final. Whilst it'd be some story if Karl Sutton goes and runs away with it 7-0, 7-1.
I mean, of course, for Dave as well. I mean, nobody wants to see somebody play so well to get to a final and then, you know, blitz through no fault of their own. You know, dry breaks and whatever else. I mean, that's just completely harsh. It's nice in some respects the way the game has gone now, because it seems like both players are getting a fair go.
And it's worth pointing out as well, as I've just been reminded in my ear from the Ultimate Pool producers, it is a race to 8 in this final,
Race
not
to
7.
8, yeah, absolutely. He just wants to mind his work just a fraction here. Yeah, played it nice. Played it lovely.
Well. He was 5-0 down 5 minutes ago, and now Dave McNamara all of a sudden is on the coattails of Karl Sutton.
Yes. Now while I'm setting up.
He just asked for a quick comfort break, Dave McNamara, and I think he can be forgiven for that, because he didn't have a whole lot of time in between the semi-final and the final. Karl Sutton forced to sit and stew, and I can't believe I'm saying this from where we were 5-6 minutes ago, but I think you'd rather be Dave McNamara right now. All the momentum is with him.
Well, it's just such a crazy game, isn't it? Because granted, Karl hit one of them a little bit, you know, awkward if you like, but it got kicked in. Dave then mishit them, and the reds come out nice, and then Karl's hit them good and got kicked in again. So
well, whilst Dave McNamara takes a quick comfort break, we're going to do the same short interval in this Pro Series 5 final. Back in a tick. Fantastic to see the Ultimate Pool Pros being worked hard across the circuits with the Ultimate Pool exhibitions. Great thing being involved there. And if you want to sign up to have Mick Hill come and play for you, I know you're available.
I can be.
All right then, Dave McNamara back at the table. I don't need to tell you he's made a ball off that break. I'd have put my life savings on it. It's the curious way of them pool gods, mate.
Yeah, the pool gods are having the say. And these reds aren't terrible, are they? Wow, lovely.
And that sort of...
Oh, these connect lovely as well, look, because he can basically, you know, he can play this red and the 3 reds, leave the one in the centre till last and just run up.
Well, Dave McNamara's got a bit of a swagger about the table now.
Yeah,
he
he's
had
swagging.
that in the semi-final against Waddingham, but it seemed more of a nervous energy. He does play like that when he's in the zone. He's bouncing around the table, checking every corner. But now with the way that he's playing and the proficiency of his potting, it is a little bit of a swagger. He's feeling confident out there.
No, he's playing lovely. He's hitting the ball nice and he's playing some nice pool. Perfect. Bottom one first, Dave. Round 2 cushions. Little flick with side.
Well. Karl Sutton was 5-0 up. And he's now back at 5-4. He's been pegged back by 4 straight frames from Dave McNamara. The momentum of this final complexion has completely changed. And Karl Sutton, who's been so mentally there the whole weekend, he's been so firm, so stoic, so
Nobody's
concentrated.
made a mistake, have they? Is that
No.
9 off the bat?
It's been brilliant.
Is that 9?
The only mistakes have come on the break.
Wow.
And considering, as we mentioned at the start of this game, that we're essentially dealing with what would be called an unlikely final, an underdog final, they have shown they absolutely deserve to be out there on the big stage.
They're playing as well as anyone else can play. You know?
It's warm out there, all right. Fans are out.
Yeah.
I suspect the extra heat is being brought by the extra attendance. Everyone who's not got a match to play at the minute in this Grand Hotel in Blackpool is crowding around the table to watch what all the fuss is about. And they're being treated. You've got the next best position, myself and Mick Hill here on the Ultimate Pool app. Karl Sutton breaking at 5-4.
Makes a
Oh,
ball.
he's got one.
He's made his ball. And the reds look okay. Big visit for Karl though.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just from a mental perspective, he's at 5-0. He's probably thinking, "I've won." To no fault of his own, he's in a grind here now.
These aren't easy though.
They're not quite as good as the first looked, are they? They're okay, but they're not amazing.
And the thing is if you gave Karl this finish at 5-0 up when he's just run 5 off the back, and the tariff of the finishes he was taken out, you just said absolutely no doubt. But now,
yeah, the tap-ins, aren't they then?
But now these are laced with difficulty. This red on the right side rail looks a real problem. He's going to go reds.
Red ball's in play.
Oh, Karl, that's no good. Well, if he was going to play that, he might as well have run into the 8 ball, because then he would have left himself perfectly straight on the one top right. Kind of can't get anywhere here. If he's catching the back of the yellow when he plays this, he pots this, he's on nothing. Yeah, he's on nothing. Even if he pots it, he's on nothing.
Well, well, well. The whole occasion is drastically altered. These two have upset the odds all the way through the weekend, and I tell you what, you've got some long odds on it going 5-5 from Karl being 5-0 up.
Yeah, does he go down table here? Does he come all the way down now? He tried. Yeah, I don't disagree with it, I could see it, but if it wasn't kind of that accessible, maybe I wouldn't have played it. I'd only really have played it if I knew I could definitely get there, because you're slightly chasing here. You know, now you're taking your ball that, you know, yeah. I think there's one or two lads on the bevy in that crowd saying good shot for rolling a ball into the centre. Good shot, Dave. I'm sure he's played better shots than that during the week to get to the final.
He's just looked at his line. He's going to come in and out the top cushion here.
And you know what's really interesting here is where those two reds are sat, which are guarding the yellow at the bottom of the table. The gap through the middle is sat on the line of where the yellow is for Dave to pot the 8 in the middle. So even if he's straight on the one on the bottom rail at the end, he can just stun it, and he gets the gap of the reds.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
You know, it's... He doesn't want to be running into the reds here. He wants to run past the reds. I don't like that, Dave. I don't like it if you've not got the line just to run down, because if you catch that red quarter ball, you've snookered yourself. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. What did I tell you? Yeah.
I called it perfectly. I suppose.
The shot before, he left himself the wrong line.
Yeah.
He drawed the cue ball back too far. He wanted to leave the line, so you just ran past those.
Bit of a hit and Chris from Dave McNamara. And Karl Sutton gets a let off.
A bit of a hit and Chris Mellin.
It's an old phrase from my mate I used to play pool with back at uni. I used to play for Rushden Diamonds, a fella called Chris Hope.
Oh, okay.
So old hit and Chris was a hit and Hope.
Hit and Chris, yeah, nice one. Oh, David.
Shout out to Sam, had a new baby a couple of weeks ago.
That is a big, big turning point. I mean, I'll apologise to him for calling the fate, but I could just...
I think I'm right in saying that at 5-4, we've had more mistakes in this frame, i.e. one from each player, than we have in the entire match. So it's starting to get a little bit edgy.
Well.
Because, I mean, you know how to win these finals, mate. You've won 2 of them this season alone, let alone what you've won in the past. You know what it's like to get over the winning line. It just never seems as easy as you like, no matter how well you're playing.
I suppose, fortunately, the 2 that I have won this season, I wasn't in a kind of a dogfight, you know. So when it come to the end, there wasn't really any tension on it because I had a lead, which is obviously completely different.
Right.
I wonder if Karl's just steadied the ship there. Dave were kicking himself because if he goes 5-all from 5-0 down, he definitely goes favourite. Whereas now,
mentally, that's really tough to take, that, isn't
yeah,
it?
but
Feels like you've lost it, even though you've not really done anything for it.
Yes, but now it's transferred again now, where Dave's thinking he's missed his chance. That's the thing. Dave's got to beat Karl 3-1 from here. Which can happen, of course. I just wonder for Dave, did he just slightly miss the boat there with that last frame? He knows. I mean, he's ruined it. You know, you can tell.
Thank you. Frame 11. David McNamara to break. Trailing 6 frames to 4.
Oh, straight in. Straight in. That's total user error. Yes, he gets kicked, but also that was tracking. It's a bad break
Before
from
the
Dave.
camera went away, it looked like the Reds was going to be good.
We'll see here.
We will see in a minute, but it looked like the Reds were going to be really good. Well, they both look pretty good, don't they? Maybe it's yellows, but I mean, you can do what you like here, to be honest, Karl.
Yellow balls
As long as you're not careless. You've got to be a little bit careful. Yeah. Karl very much plays like the old way, where he'll take one off of the table and then kind of come down.
That's how he was learnt, right? He is from that slightly older school, if you like.
Yeah, I've kind of stopped doing it a little bit though. So you've got that little get out clause. Do you know what I mean? I mean, in this instance, I think it's right, but you know, that table is so fast, it's so slick. You'd almost like want to leave a little bit of a rescue ball just in case you kind of. I wonder, will he run this through and play the yellow into the right centre and just nudge the 8 ball? Will he play that? Let's have a look.
Oh, wobbled.
Yeah, he's got away with it, but he's now covered the pocket where the yellow was going to go.
Yeah, that's
because
a
it
bad
went in
result,
off the
that.
red. Can he screw into the yellow? Can he pop the yellow in the middle and stun into the other yellow and knock it to the bottom cushion? That could be a shot. Or he could just leave it till the end. Well, that needs to slow up. He didn't want that angle.
He looks very, very straight there.
Yeah, he wanted to be on the side rail there just to come round on the natural. I would have been very tempted there to apply that and stunned into my own yellow ball to just push it to the bottom cushion. What could you lose? You couldn't lose anything by playing it.
What can you gain here? What are you looking at?
He's definitely on the wrong angle here. And he's on the wrong angle again. I actually think he played for that into the centre.
Just
Do you think
slightly
he played the
overcooked
centre,
it.
or
Yeah,
do you think he played corner?
think.
If he's playing
I
corner,
think he's
why
played
does
centre.
Yeah, if he's playing corner, why wouldn't he play it harder and come off the rail and back out again?
Yeah, I think the cushion's just bounced on him a little bit there.
And now he's struggling to get on the 8.
Got to pot it first.
This match is getting tense because these weren't difficult at all, was they?
Karl Sutton to go on the hill. Remember.
Wow, he's having to rip up here.
Never in doubt, was it? No.
He's fluked it. He's fluked it.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Oh wow. Never in doubt.
wow.
He's caned
And
it off the near
you know,
jaw.
as soon as he's hit that jaw, I've gone, he's fluked it. I could see it coming.
And it trickled home.
Wow.
This will hurt.
The pool gods indeed.
To go on the hill, Karl Sutton.
Wow.
That one was never missing. And that hand of apology means absolutely zero to Dave McNamara.
Wow.
What a rub Karl Sutton's just had there. I mean, we sort of think that later on we go into tournaments, moments like that is Karl Sutton's name on the trophy.
Well, this is what I mean. I mean, where do you go with it, you know?
I don't know what the two of them have just said to each other, but Karl's just just been told something.
I mean, 7-4, 6-5 is absolutely incredible.
Well, yet again, for the second time in the match, Dave McNamara has to come from a massive deficit, and he has to win 4 frames in a row. If he fails to do that, Karl Sutton is a Pro Series champion.
Thank you, frame
And Karl
12.
has the next break.
Karl Sutton to break. Leading 7 frames
Karl
to 4.
Sutton breaking for the match, breaking for the championship. Sledgehammer. How's the split? How's the cue ball? I think he's okay.
Well, it wasn't amazing, but it was good enough. Does the yellow go top right? If it does, this is a great chance. It looks like it does. Does the yellow? I think it goes.
I think he's playing on it.
Mm.
There it is.
He didn't want to be straight though, because he doesn't want to take the one top left over the hole last, because he can't make the transition down the table. I may even be tempted to come down the table here now. Right the way down, all the way back. I agree with that, but he hasn't hit it great. I would have come all the way down the table there.
But yellow by the 8.
Well, all the one into the centre.
And then he's not really
Well,
on either.
but because when you put the one over the top left, you don't have to get anywhere, because you're on the 8 ball next.
Oh, it's going to be the double.
It's there.
Comfortable enough.
You know, these lads these days, they double ball so well. You know, in my day, a double was like a rescue shot. You know, these days, like,
You play on him.
lads just play on him, yeah. And yeah, now if he plays the one over the old last, like I suggested, he hasn't got to get anywhere. He's over it. He's in the middle. He's on the 50-yard line, as they say. That wasn't a great shot from Karl, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got to do some work here.
Yeah. He's got to play another pot again. Yeah, unless it goes in the centre. If it goes in the centre.
I think it does, but it's tight, and the cue ball's obviously running away.
He just knows if he plays the one top left now, he's got to play a shot. And if he leaves it till last, he hasn't got to do anything. He's taking the pot on. Don't catch the red, Karl. Don't catch the red ball, quarter ball.
Is this tournament ball?
Don't catch the red. Ah, lovely.
Crunched it.
And now he's just floated. You know, if he play, like I said, if he plays it last, this is it, JMO.
Karl Sutton is 2 balls away from what would be the biggest win of his career. Leaves himself distance. Just cue it straight.
The only thing that can save Dave McNamara is the left-hand centre pocket.
Karl Sutton for glory.
He's digging to avoid the pocket. Don't send it into the other one. Don't send it into the other one, Karl.
He has done it.
Wow, brilliant.
Karl Sutton is a Pro Series champion. Before this weekend, he hadn't won 2 in a row for a year and a half. And this weekend in Blackpool, he has run the gauntlet. This final is the first time he's not had to beat an Ultimate Pool champion. An unbelievable performance. Look what it means to Karl Sutton. He looks blown away by the whole occasion. We're going to hear from him in a moment. Presentations are coming up, but this moment is all Karl Sutton's. Well, a very warm welcome back into the Ultimate Pool Arena, live from the Grand Hotel in Blackpool. A special, special atmosphere tonight for what was a special final. Let's hear it for both of our finalists, Karl Sutton and Dave McNamara, everyone. It was always going to be a really special day for whoever won this final, but it was a special moment for both of them just to be here. Let's hear it for our runner-up. Fabulous performance from Dave McNamara. Dave, hard lines, mate. That was... Look, it's always never going to be nice to lose a final, but when you were 5-0 down, you've made some fight of that in the end, mate.
Yeah, I was scared of getting bageled or something, 8-0 in my first ever final, but, you know, it was one of them. He's played quality. I think I've played really well as well. I think it was just maybe the fluke at 6-5. That was then he broke dished afterwards, and I didn't get really a shot after that. So, you know, Karl was class. Really nice guy. Completely deserves it.
And a word for the lads who've come up from the northwest to support you. They've been so loud all weekend. You've had a brilliant run, mate. It's your first Pro Series final, and no doubt your aim now is to repeat the feat and go on better.
Yeah, that's the plan, mate. Just want to thank all the lads here that have come up there, Liverpool lads, and Jason over there who's come up, and lads that have been with me all weekend as well. Probably might not got over the line against Craig if I didn't have them lads in my corner, so a big thank you.
Well, look, you'll be back, mate. Best of luck for the next one.
Cheers, mate.
Dave McNamara, everyone. Well, you'd have got some very, very long odds on this man lifting the title at the start of the weekend. Before this Pro Series competition, Karl Sutton had won 2 matches back-to-back in the Ultimate Pool Pro Series. He's beaten champion after champion after champion, and now he's won the final as well. What a moment. Let's hear it make some massive noise for Karl Sutton. Sorry to remind you of that fact, mate.
Fine.
But, I mean, you've done it the hard way. We looked at your run through earlier and we realised after the prelim, round 1, 2, all the way through to this final, you'd only beaten fellas who'd lifted Ultimate Pool Gold. You had to do it the hard way, a phenomenal run. What does this moment feel like?
It's unbelievable. You know, completely ripped up the form book, exceeded my own expectations. I hope the bookie's at the bar waiting for me because there's no one that backed me on page 3. Look, I'm made up. It's the biggest thing I've ever won. Yes. And if I never win another tournament, I don't mind.
You absolutely have, mate. And look, it's one of those where you've been some big moments. Obviously, 2016 European Champion, World Final that year. Do you feel like coming into this, that just gave you a little bit of call back on that a little bit? You'd been in a big final before. It wasn't totally new, or was it totally new?
No, not really. I've played a long time. I've won some decent stuff. You know, over the years you sort of learn and you gain experience. I never felt like I'd bottle it. You know, I know how to win. It was just I was lacking a bit of confidence and ability. But I don't know what's happened, but I'm over the moon.
5-0 up.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it starts to go against you. You're starting to think, oh no, what's going on here when Dave rattles off frame after frame to come back?
Well, it was no surprise, you know. He's obviously quality, not just on the table but off it as well. You know, I even at 5-0, I knew I still had a game on my hands. You know, as a big frame at 5-4, I was fortunate that obviously he didn't get on his last ball and I took them out. You know, I apologise for the fluke at 6-4. You know, probably, you know, it completely turned the game on its head. You know, up until then it was a high standard game, but you know, luck was on my side today.
It's one of those. I know you've won an Ultimate Pool title, the pairs with Sean Chibberfield. I remember you saying to me in the interview after that Sean had carried you to this one, but to that one rather. But this one has been all your own work. How special is this moment for you, mate?
Really, you know. When you come into these events and you just get beat all the time, it's demoralising. But, you know, I've proved to everybody, but more importantly myself, that I belong here.
You absolutely do, mate. It's a fine note to end it on. We're going to bring in the Ultimate Pool Chief Executive, Lee Kendall, to make the presentations. Enjoy the moment, Karl. It's all yours. The Ultimate Pool Pro Series 5 champion for 2022, Karl Sutton. Special performance that from Karl Sutton.